Welcome to Inside South Union Township here on the South Union Township Sports Network. Brian Morozak being joined today by Penn State Fayette Athletic Director Lou Zadecky. Inside South Union Township is a joint cooperative venture featuring Township Supervisors Bob Schiffbauer, Rick Vernon, and Jason Scott, Atlantic Broadband Cable, Armstrong Cable, and our friends at CUTV, J.R. Wheeler and Gary Smith. Again, we're being joined by Lou Zadecky, who is the new athletic director at Penn State Fayette, the Everly campus. Lou, thank you for joining us here today.
Brian, thanks for having me here as well.
Anytime. And of course, a lot of excitement going on around the Penn State Fayette athletic program. We're only a couple of days away from the basketball season getting underway, and of course, you just wrapped up your fall season as well.
Absolutely. This is a really exciting time for us at Fayette, and basketball season's right around the corner. They're finishing their scrimmage sessions, getting ready for the first start date on the 11th with Carlo, but we just had a great, exceptional season with cross country, really catching full tilt, and women's volleyball, like every year, just competing for that top spot. So it's been really good.
And I'm sure you've been getting your feet wet a little bit here at Penn State Fayette as well. Of course, you came from Penn State Greater Allegheny.
Yes, it's nice because it's all part of one system, the Penn State system. But Penn State Fayette's really just accepted me. There's a lot going on, and it's good to come from the Penn State system because some things that you might get lost in, I've kind of adapted well and kept moving forward.
I know I always felt welcome over at Penn State Greater Allegheny as well. You guys had a great staff over there. I actually graduated high school with Corey Morton, who was your athletic director. Amanda Baldinger did a great job as the athletic communications director, and you were the women's basketball coach out there.
Yeah, that was just an unbelievable experience. I was looking to get back into the college atmosphere with coaching. And it started with Jim Chester and Glenn Beach. Those were the first folks that brought me along, and then finishing with Corey. I just had a great experience there. The young ladies that I worked with for the basketball team, we created an environment where we were very competitive. You knew that you were going to get your best every night from us, but to be respectful and move forward. And I think, like you said, I felt welcome when I came to Fayette and a lot of other campuses because even though you're the enemy coming in, everyone always treated me with respect, and I think myself and my teams did that as well. So created great relationships.
What are some of your goals now here at Penn State Fayette?
I tell you what, it's tough when you have a program that already has a lot of things that have been established and a lot of good things. But we're really looking to move forward, expanding our programs, looking to hopefully have men's and women's soccer coming next fall. We're in the final stages of that. Maybe also introducing a couple other programs, bringing back maybe golf and expanding on our cross country, maybe into track. Those are all things down the road. I know we're in the process of trying to bring the USCA, which is our national organization, the volleyball tournament, the women's volleyball tournament. We'd love to host it. We were already doing the basketball tournament and great things for the area, and if we can do the volleyball tournament as well, that would be great. But basically just try to expand and continue to get out in the community, continue to let folks know that there's this great gem here in Fayette County. And
I don't think it's utilized enough.
It's not utilized enough. People drive by it, and we got great staff, we have great professors, we have great administration, we have excellent students, people that are doing so well, and we want that to get out there because there's so many opportunities for other folks, and athletics is just one of those ways. But a Penn State degree is awesome, but a Penn State Fayette experience is unbelievable. So hopefully we can build on that.
And even though you've only been here for just a few months, you've already started to get your feet wet in the community. Of course, we're taking this here in South Union Township, and you've already developed a nice relationship with the township supervisors, Bob Schiffbauer, Rick Vernon, and Jason Scott.
I tell you what, it's nice when folks can get along. It's nice that South Union has done, what they've done to help out the programs. The baseball team plays here. The softball team plays here. At times, if the gymnasium or other facilities are needed, they just open their arms and invite us in. And just from the way that we're treated, I can only imagine what it's like for the folks in the community and even other folks that are maybe on the outskirts of the community that they may give opportunities to. And when you have organizations and folks like Bob and everybody else getting involved and letting themselves out there to help you, I just think it creates a great relationship. It's a model that should be followed all the time.
I think it's important too. Obviously, South Union Township has a great youth soccer program, a great baseball youth program as well, and getting these kids introduced to sports at a young age, and then also seeing that, hey, some of the local college teams are using these facilities as well, and being an important player in the township, I think helps out as well, because you could down the road attract some of those now younger student athletes to come to Penn State Fayette.
And that's the nice part about it. There's 2 soccer facilities that they're giving us the opportunity to utilize if the program, comes forth. And as a youngster, everybody looks out. They have role models, whether it's a high school student athlete, whether it's a college student athlete, whether it's a professional player. You're always looking up to those folks. And for an opportunity for us to use the facilities here gives us an opportunity to maybe be role models, but also a vision for those young folks, and an opportunity to give back to the community, whether it's maybe a soccer clinic that you get involved with, or a basketball clinic, or baseball or softball. Being able to work with the community and working with South Union, it's a great experience. And like you said, soccer is just everywhere around here.
It's really taken off in the last couple of years.
And
you had a soccer program over at Greater Allegheny as well.
I'll tell you what, it's a great way to expand the university. It's a great way to bring more folks on campus. We have folks that ask, when they come on admissions days, and our admissions folks do a great job, do you have soccer? Well, we're hoping that very soon we can say we are and create a Penn State opportunity for those student athletes.
And you were talking about having great relationships between your coaches and the township. Well, your head men's basketball coach, Mark Mookie, John, of course, is a Laurel Highlands graduate, a resident of South Union Township, and it has to be nice to have someone who played ball here when he was a youngster, now coaching at Penn State Fayette, an opportunity for maybe him to give back to the community as well.
Well, I think that's, a great thing, and I think, Coach John understands, and a lot of our coaches, they're all local folks, but what can you give back to the community? And what can you showcase and say, look, this is what we have? And I think he's done a great job over the years, trying to get the name out, trying to get the opportunities out for local athletes, and the hat's off to him. A lot of times people, they want to leave where they came from. It doesn't matter if it's here, doesn't matter if it's
they're always trying to go to get somewhere else, whether it's even bigger or not, just to go somewhere else. But it's nice when folks do stay in the community.
Yeah, and it's nice that they can say, hey, I know where you're coming from. And that's hats off to him. That's hats off to the other coaches that are in the community, and when we have relationships like that, I just see the future being bright. So it excites me. He's doing a great job. I know he's geared up for the men's basketball season. Coach Hillen's excited. He's a new hire for the women's basketball position, and the team's ready to roll. And we have Jerry Simon, who's the head wrestling coach. He's a local guy and a local coach for many, many years, getting the wrestling program ready to go. So it's nice when those community folks come back and give back.
And I think for a long period of time, there was quite a lull in Penn State Fayette athletics. Of course, you weren't around the area, so maybe you didn't see that. But over the last 5 to 6 years, it's really taken off, not only just with basketball, but we just wrapped up the fall season. Your women's volleyball team, Nancy Wheeler, your head coach, just finished up another nice run. They made it all the way to the PSUAC finals. Maybe not as far as they wanted to get, and they have been, but they've been successful year in and year out.
And, the key is, I think, I talked to some folks, and I don't have the exact years, but I think like you said, there was a lull. Somewhere around 7, 8, 9 years, I think, athletics had disappeared from the campus. And there were some great programs. I look at the trophy case, it looked like there was some great basketball, situations going on. There was some even fencing, maybe volleyball. And for the university to embrace athletics and bring it back on campus and have folks like Coach Wheeler, who not only has a nice volleyball program, but has an exceptional, very competitive. They won, 7 conference titles in a row. They've just, done a great job. The basketball program's, doing well. They have a couple championships. Cross country, first time ever this year, we fielded a team for the championships and had an all-conference runner. So taking a program like Coach Wheeler's and Coach Carey, who's cross country coach, add them to the basketball programs with Coach John and Coach Hillen and Coach Simon wrestling. And then we don't want to forget about Coach Smitley with baseball. We do not have a softball coach right now, but even the softball program in years, creating opportunities. We don't want to just be athletics. We're student athletes. We don't want to just be run of the mill. We want to be the standard, and that's what we're creating there. This is the standard that we want everyone in the conference to follow and realize that we can be at the top, but we can be good in the community. We can get our academics, graduate, move on in life, but we can put exceptional programs and exceptional people in place, and that's what we're trying to do.
And I have to think your admissions office as well has to like the fact that you're having winning athletic programs, because that's going to help, I think, attract more students to the university as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rob Talrico and Rachel Angry and the other folks in the admissions office, they're go-getters. They create opportunities every day. I have an opportunity to work with Rachel and Rob more on the athletic students coming in, recruited students, but they're out every day in schools everywhere. And they could just say, hey, come to Penn State. But they tell the folks, come to Penn State, plus we have athletics. Then we have coaches who have just really started to embrace getting out there and recruiting. And with everyone working together, it makes admissions happy, makes administration happy, makes me happy. And when you know that your teams are not only growing in numbers, but very competitive, it makes the whole process easy. So I think everybody's happy across the board.
We talked about some of the fall sports that just wrapped up, and obviously everybody's geared up for the winter sports as well. Mark Mookie John entering his 6th season now as your head men's basketball coach. Of course, you go back to 2013. The men made it all the way to the USCAA championship. The women were in the Final Four that year as well. It was a successful season. Obviously tough to sustain that level year in and year out. The men did their best last year to almost get back to it with a great regular season. Unfortunately, a couple of bookkeeping errors there slowed them down a little bit. But it's amazing, first on your men's program side, the number of players that you've been able to bring to Penn State Fayette from outside the area, players from Hawaii, California, Minnesota. And I would think the university has to be thrilled to see athletes coming from across the country coming to play basketball here at Penn State Fayette.
And I think a lot of that, goes back to the coaches promoting the program. Obviously, we stream the games live. The radio station, WNES covers the games, that.
And we're actually working here on South Union, I think, as well this year to try to get some of the games on TV. So hopefully the folks that are watching our broadcast here will be able to see your team a couple of times throughout the course of the year as well.
Absolutely hoping for that, because I think that'll just be a great opportunity as well. But, they go out. They say, we're not just this little corner here. We're creating an opportunity for anybody. And, they've gotten quality folks from all over the country, and that's great. We have no dorms. It's great. They come to a commuter campus, they find housing, and it's just a great opportunity.
And it seems like you have some pretty good numbers right now as well, looking at your roster for both men's and women's basketball. We'll get to the women's program in just a minute, but looking at your men's roster, 15 or 20 players strong going into the preseason.
Yeah, I just, you have to have stability. Programs, it makes it nice if you have a competitive team, but it's always good to have numbers. It's always good to have people involved. If people get hurt, people get satisfied. There always has to be that churn of, hey, I got to work every day. I got to keep up what I need to do. And those numbers to come in and help work with the program is tremendous.
And they certainly have a nice core back on the men's team, and I think we're all expecting pretty good things here for the 2015-2016 season.
I think so. I talked to Coach the other day. He plays it low key. He doesn't like to say, hey, we're going to be super. He kind of keeps it low key. But the good coaches know what they need to do. They know when their team's ready, and I think he's very excited for the start of the year. But he keeps it low key. But so I won't make any predictions for him or that. But I think with the hard work that they're putting in, and the gentlemen coming back with coaches' experience and staff, I think it'll be a great season this year.
We mentioned the women's basketball program. You have a new coach in Scott Hillen, and obviously he's inherited a little bit of a tough situation. The numbers not exactly where he wanted them last year, now stepping in as a first-year head coach.
Yeah, I'm excited because we weren't sure, what direction we were going to take. I wasn't sure how many young ladies were either going to stay or even continue to play basketball. And Scott has come in. He's just, reached out, said, listen, I'm here. I have all the coaching experience. I have the knowledge. I have the ability to adapt to any situation. He has 11 young ladies out right now, which
is pretty good because they finished the season last year with 7 or 8.
That's right, and we're really excited. He's been easy to work with. I coached against him, so I know what he can do.
Yeah, he's a local guy too from the Mon Valley.
Yeah, and he teaches down in Menneson, but he lives over in Youngwood, so
okay.
So he's really excited. I tell you what, he was just an absolute great addition to the program.
And we're certainly looking forward to not only the men's basketball team, but the women's basketball team as well here at Penn State Fayette during the 2015 and 2016 season. Again, we're talking with Lou Zadecky, who is the new athletic director at Penn State Fayette, the Everly campus here on inside South Union Township. And Lou, we mentioned the spring sports as well, obviously baseball and softball. You have a new baseball field. It hasn't been utilized yet, but I know there's some ongoing improvements and development there. And for the meantime, you've been playing your games here in South Union Township.
Yeah, South Union Township, first of all, once again, has just given us a great opportunity. They don't have to accommodate, but they do. They create the opportunity for the baseball team to play there while we finish the process of building or continuing to build the field. We're looking here as the spring/summer comes along to really move all the projects along the baseball field. The softball field is in that project state where hopefully by the end of summer, if not the first of fall next year, we'll have 2 viable baseball and a softball field. But once again, Bob and the folks here, the supervisors, the staff, the field maintenance folks, I see them out there. They've taken the time, they've taken the opportunity, and as long as we don't have fields and they're willing to work with us, we're very appreciative to the facilities and the use of the facilities.
And as you look, obviously, at some of the development over the next year or so, what are some of your goals as far as trying to get that in place and kind of get the ball rolling a little bit?
Well, everything's in the final stages, so that stuff goes up to University Park. They make the final decisions, but everything's moving in the right direction. So the only thing you deal with now is weather. They could they got to break ground, and you have 1.5 foot of snow on the ground. That doesn't make it easy. And some of the things that we want to make sure, drainage is a key thing,
especially with baseball and soccer.
There's nothing like stepping out of the field and next thing you know you're 2 inches in the mud and the field's not playable. But we're looking to have an optimal surface and an optimal facility, and as soon as they're able to get to work, they're going to do that. But that's all because of our administration. Dr. Patrick is just, our chancellor is just, he's behind the students, he's behind the student athletes. He believes in making your programs successful.
And he seems hands-on, too.
Oh, I tell you what, a lot of times you have a boss when you go to jobs, and the boss is the boss. That's just how it is. And he's been nothing but a blessing for me. I mean, if I have questions or concerns, he opens his door, he helps me out. If there's things that he needs from me, it's a great relationship. So I see everything progressing for the best because of folks like Dr. Patrick, and then our finance, Jason Bush. The money's got to come together, and even student affairs with Chad Long. A lot of folks are getting involved, and if you don't have those connections, you don't have people willing to work with everybody, you don't have anything. And I think that's what's great about Penn State Fayette is the connections that everybody has.
Let's talk about the development of the soccer programs over Penn State Fayette. You said it's something you're trying to obviously try to get together here over the next couple of years, and you're working with South Union Township as well, because my understanding is the fields that you'll be using will actually be in South Union Township and down on the campus, correct?
Correct, and that's always a big worry when you're starting a program. Where
are you going to play?
Where are you going to play? It would be nice to say, okay, we're just going to go over there and put some lines, paint some lines, put up some goals, and it's just not that way. And when you're bringing new teams in, a men's and women's soccer team, you need a facility. You need uniforms. You need to know who you're playing, what the schedule is, officials. There's so many things that go into it. And obviously you just can't, a field is very expensive to build, create, and if it wasn't for our relationship or our partnership here with South Union and Bob and the rest of the supervisors, we would be in a big dilemma on where would we play these games. And fortunately, they have given us the opportunity. There's other programs that use the field, and we understand that those folks come first, especially the folks in the community, and we would only want that to happen. But they're giving us the opportunity to work around those programs and use either of the two soccer facilities, which just hats off to them and the community for giving us an opportunity to use those fields and in that process build our program in the community.
And it would probably help, I would think, the long-term viability even in those fields as well, because they're going to be used by the college athletic program as well, and it would probably help generate some more youth interest as well.
Well, like we said earlier, anytime that you have someone that you might look up to, or you see, a college team or a professional team out where you play, it gives you that vision of, boy, maybe I can do that someday, or I could do that, or, I want to see that. And when you get out in the community, these days when you drive around, there's a lot of empty playgrounds, there's a lot of empty parks, the technology era, a lot of folks say kids just stay inside, but when they see those folks using those facilities and they see that, hey, I can be a part of that and I'm starting out, maybe they work a little harder, maybe they get outside a little bit more and be a part of those programs. So, like I said, we're excited to be in the community. We're excited that the community, South Union, is giving us that opportunity, and hopefully it inspires some of the youth and the young folks. And we can have clinics too.
And that's one of the things I think South Union's done a nice job of so far. They've really embraced youth athletics here with their indoor soccer programs in the winter, their baseball programs in the spring and the summer as well, trying to get some of the younger kids to get away from the TV set, get away from the video games, and actually get out there and play soccer, or play baseball, or whatever their interest might be. They even developed a new golf camp here this past summer as well. And you'd mentioned that you'd love to start the golf program again. In fact, Steve Suprick, who works most of the basketball games with me on WMBS, I think was your last golf coach at Penn State Fayette about 5 or 6 years ago.
See, and that's the thing. If your community's involved, if they take ownership in their youth, with the youth understanding that they're the future, good things can happen. And I was a phys ed teacher for almost 17 years in the Yawk School District, and the biggest thing that I always enjoyed is promoting the youth. And if your community, your programs, promote the youth, that's tremendous. It's going to create opportunities. It's going to create young folks with a vision. It's going to give them an opportunity to use their abilities and their talents. And that's what I like. That's what I loved about Yawk, and that's what I love about South Union. And I'm sure I'm starting to see in some of the other surrounding communities that they feel the same way. Any opportunity they can create for the young folks, they're going to do so. They're not going to close the door or say, we're not interested.
And we certainly encourage all of the viewers out there to make it out to Penn State Fayette, the Everly campus this winter. Check out some of the men's and women's basketball games. Check out some of the wrestling matches. Of course, you can just go to GoRoaringLions.com, full schedules on that site as well. And I'm sure they can call the university if they have any questions.
Yeah, I think it's just, a great opportunity. I'll tout the Penn State Fayette experience to anybody, but you got to come out and see it. We create an opportunity. We play in a first-class facility when it comes to our winter sports. We've got great opportunities and first-class opportunities here for our spring sports. It's just an experience that you have to come out and see.
And of course, once again this year, we're going to be hosting the high school tip-off tournaments the first weekend in December as well, which I think creates a great opportunity for some of the high school kids to play on the college surface there at Penn State Fayette and in that arena, and then maybe expose themselves to, hey, we might want to go and play there in a year or two once we graduate from high school. And of course, the USCA basketball championships in March of 2016 once again at Penn State Fayette as well.
But just what a great opportunity. You're a high school basketball player and you get to play, a top-rated arena in the area. There's not many facilities like this around at any of the college levels. And to be able to step on that floor. Back in the day when I was growing up, if I wanted to step on a floor like that, didn't matter if we were in high school, middle school, elementary, it was a camp. That's the only time you got a chance to be on a college floor. but they got an opportunity to play in a great facility. We hold the national tournament there as well, so if you come and you love basketball, I mean, Division I, men's and women's, Division II, men's and women's, USCA, coming all 1 week. You know,
you hold a bunch of camps there and everything too for the kids, which is great. All the local coaches are involved and hold a bunch of camps. There's parades and activities around the area. USCA Championship Week, always special here around Fayette County.
Yeah, you want the community to be proud. You know, it's if you don't promote your community and you don't promote your campus and you don't promote the folks, the good folks that are involved, what do you get? You know, so you just everyone, the community, all our sponsors, you know, you folks at the radio station, South Union, school districts around that help out, the town having a parade, any of those things are good people getting involved and saying, hey, look at what we got here. This is something special. Regardless if we have a basketball tournament here or not, look at our community. It's a special place.
I think Matt Sims and the folks at the USCAA a couple of years ago really did a great job changing the philosophy a little bit from just a basketball championship to a whole tournament event, kind of like a bowl game type atmosphere.
Yeah, hats off to Matt and Michael. Both of them, you know, they work very hard. They're on the road all the time. They're dealing with all the sports all year long, all the championships. They actually have 2 championships out right now, or 3 actually, soccer, cross country, and volleyball this whole week. So they're very busy folks, but when they put something together, they go top notch and they want to get people involved. So the USCA, Matt and Michael, great to work with, and I'm excited to continue that future.
Well, we appreciate your time here in Inside South Union Township here today. I'm sure we'll be seeing you a lot throughout the winter season.
Brian, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That's Lou Zadecky, the new athletic director at Penn State Fayette, the Everly campus, joining us here on Inside South Union Township. Inside South Union Township is a joint cooperative venture featuring township supervisors Bob Schiffbauer, Rick Vernon, and Jason Scott, Atlantic Broadband Cable, Armstrong Cable, and our friends at CUTV, J.R. Wheeler and Gary Smith. For Jerry Dupay behind the camera and for Lou Zadecky, this is Brian Morozak. Have a great day.